So when I was 22, I met this man, and we met right in front of an accident, literally. I was leaving a job interview, and he was on his lunch break, and the accident happened right in front of us. It led us to talk and exchange numbers. Next thing I know, we're discussing marriage, and he even bought me the wedding ring that I wanted. We're moving in together. Things moved very quickly, and so did the signs, followed by the abuse. Yet I stayed because I was convinced I could change this man. This man would always cry. He would always be emotional after what he done with. And I would believe, okay, this man has a problem and I got to help him fix it. In this relationship, I started to change for the worse. I started drinking a lot. This man was an alcoholic himself. And I picked up the spirit of alcoholism, and I was drinking all the time. So it was definitely a demonic covenant going on. We were definitely sharing demonic spirits. If that stuff is real, you guys. And because of the spirits we shared, it was so difficult for me to leave that relationship. I would always pack up my stuff, and I would be firm in my head. I'm done. I'm not going to accept this. And I would leave just to return again to him. And it was a constant battle. But I was losing more and more of myself every time I returned. I didn't even know who I was anymore. The enemy had me right where he needed me. And like I stated, because of the abuse, I was in a very dark place. It was very hard for me to even eat. I had to have alcohol. I was drinking all the time. And the Lord sent me a dream. And in this dream, I remember I visited hell and I visited heaven. My walk with God at this point was non-existent. I was living in sin. I wasn't even seeking God at this time. I was doing what I wanted to do, how I wanted to do it, and trying to fix this man who I thought was my husband at the time. Because although we wasn't married, we would still say that we were husband and wife. And like I said, it was definitely a demonic covenant going on. And the Lord had sent me a dream. And in this dream, Jesus was a lamb. And I was following this lamb in the dream. But I didn't recognize that it was Jesus until I woke up. But in this dream, I was in hell. And the lamb never left me. And I was seeing all these attacks going on. And it was just, I remember it was very hot and it smelled really bad. So while all this was going on in hell, I would still see the lamb at a distance. It never left me. But I remember when we made it out of hell, the lamb was leading all of these people. And everyone was behind the lamb except me. I kept trying to get in front of the lamb, and he would speak to me, and he was telling me that to slow down, that I was moving ahead of him. He would constantly tell me that in the dream, to slow down, that I was moving ahead of him. So when I had woke up out the dream, I immediately knew what it meant. I knew that I was moving ahead of the Lord and his will for my life. But still, because of this demonic covenant, I still wasn't ready to, I don't want to say I wasn't ready. I didn't know how. I didn't know how to leave this relationship because, like I said, it was a constant battle, and it was like a cycle that I couldn't get out of. I would always be ready to leave, but something will always bring me back. And so what I did was I said, you know what? Okay, I'm going to take this man to church. And that's what I did. I took him to church. We started to attend church on Sundays. We started to read our Bibles, and that that's what we started to do. And you guys, when we started, the attacks got even worse. It was even worse, to the point to where I said, you know what? Okay, I'm going to go on a fast. And that's what I did. I went on a fast. And between this time, I was in and out of fast. Once we started attending church, that's when I started to work on my relationship with the Lord, because I was like, okay, and yeah, I know that dream had a deep meaning for me. And I started to go into fast. I did the Daniel fast, and after that fast, I remember I did another fast to where I said, okay, I'm not gonna eat, I'm not gonna drink, nothing. And that's what I did. And he even gave up alcohol. And you guys, like I said, he was an alcoholic. He couldn't go without his alcohol. And during this fast, he even gave up his alcohol. So we both fasted. And I remember I prayed this prayer one night, because I couldn't sleep. Like, I would cry majority of the nights. I would cry because I wanted to get out of this relationship so bad, but I couldn't leave. I would always return back to him. And I knew it wasn't good for me because I was losing myself. I didn't even recognize who I was. So this one night I went into the restroom and I prayed. And I just seeked God. I was literally weeping on that floor. And I asked God, Lord, make it to where I can't return back to this man, and this man can't return back to me. Separate us, because every time I do it myself, I end up coming back into this relationship. And I know this is not what you want for me. I can't leave physically by myself. Like, I knew it was something going on spiritually. So I was crying out to the Lord, and I was telling the Lord all these things. Make it to where he leave and I can't return to him and he can't return to me. I need you, Jesus. I need you to do this for me. I want out of this relationship. You guys, tell me why. The next day the fast was over. And he told me that he was going to go and have a beer with his friends. And I was like, okay. And he was kind of hesitant because the fast was over for him and it was going to be his first time drinking again. But he did it anyway. He was like, I'll be back. Like, I'm going to drink with the boys. I was like, okay, go ahead. Go ahead. Enjoy yourself. Be careful. And he left. This man never returned home. That whole day went by and this man never returned home. I call around to find out that he was in custody. He had gotten locked up. This man went to jail, you guys. That's how God works. God set me free. God made it to where this man could not return to me and I couldn't return to him. God set me free. God heard my cries. All it took was for me to truly seek God's face, to truly ask God for help, because I couldn't do it on my own. And God made a way out for me. He made a way out for me. So these types of relationships are never easy. And I'm convinced a lot of you can't do it on your own, because I couldn't. You need this Lord's strength. You need the Lord to move in your life. And he will if you call out to him and ask him. to do it. I pray this testimony reaches whoever it needs to reach. Just know you are not alone, and call out to God, and He will hear you, and He will move on your behalf. Listen, God does not play about you. Since a child, the devil tried to silence you. He tried to silence you in your mother's womb, okay?